Ranger! Pity I have to kill you. You would make a strong slave.
Hello, welcome to this edition of Before the Bell. This time I'm going to give you my thoughts on Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, which I've been playing through over the last few days or so. If you want to know a little bit more about the game, who developed it, the publisher, all that sort of stuff, that'll be below in the description, so check that out. I'm going to jump straight into my cards on the table. So only a few points really. I've been playing the game for about 5 hours. I'm playing on the PS4, and probably the most important thing to note here is that I'm not actually a massive fan of the Lord of the Rings franchise, so I'm not sort of in touch with the lore of the universe. I'm not in touch with how it should be, the tone of it, all that sort of stuff. I'm coming out and playing this game purely from a video game perspective. So Shadow of Mordor feels a lot like a distant cousin of Assassin's Creed. As you're running around, climbing up and over structures, everything will feel quite familiar if you've played the Assassin's Creed franchise. Using one button to scale up and over objects is right out the Ubisoft playbook, so you're going to feel at home here. Unfortunately, the free run is actually nowhere near as smooth or as intuitive as Assassin's Creed. I've found many times that I'm bumbling around, bumping into objects and walls rather than gliding straight over them. I think part of this is to do with some of the level design personally and the structures. Whatever it is though, it does sort of mark Shadow of Mordor down a little bit. Coming back to them feeling like Assassin's Creed, you've even got a Wraith mode, which is you can switch on and off, which is eerily similar to Eagle Vision, so it's not really bringing much new to the table. Thankfully, apart from the awkward moments I have had when I've been trying to imitate Ezio, the rest of Shadow of Mordor is very entertaining. The combat's slick, it plays very nicely. Again, they're borrowing from another well-known franchise in the Batman series, but it's implemented very well. Counters, dodging, executions, ground finishes, they're all simple to pull off as long as you battle sensibly and approach things in the right way. If you fancy feeling the herd before going into battle, you can crack out your elf bow for some ranged attacks, do some headshots, or you can sneak up behind the orcs and silently wipe them out with your dagger. The good thing is you've got options on how you can approach every situation, which is one of the game's finest assets. The options you have are invaluable when you're taking on the more powerful enemies, such as the captains or the war chiefs. These are essentially the most powerful orcs that I've encountered so far, and they each have different strengths and weaknesses, which you actually can use to your advantage and exploit. Again, there's more options here on how you can approach these mini bosses. It's all linked in brilliantly with the Nemesis System, which I absolutely love. The Nemesis System is essentially a dynamic hierarchy system where your actions in the game actually help shape and mould it. So, for example, if you kill a captain, there'll be a new orc coming to replace them. If you die at the hands of a captain, he's going to increase in power, ranking and respect within the orc hierarchy. You can even get wiped out by a run-of-the-mill orc who will then be promoted into the captain structure themselves. It's a great system, and it's one that I'm having so much fun just playing around with all the different sort of things you can do. If a higher-powered orc is going to execute a lower-powered orc, that's a chance for you to wipe out the higher-powered orc when he's got his hands full, and then thus a lower-powered orc will probably be promoted into his place. So again, more options into the game. The voice works, it is brilliant. Hearing the orcs just say bollocks to this as they're fleeing is absolute gold, and it gives the game so much character. There's hunting challenges, side quests, collectibles. These are all okay. They offer an optional distraction if you fancy it. It's not really something I tend to get too invested in myself. It's not really that engaging. The game looks gorgeous and it captures the tone of the world brilliantly. It's a very violent game, which pleases me because I was expecting it to be pandering towards sort of a teen or a child audience, but it is very bloody in places, which I appreciate. They're not pulling any punches. The map is small, but it's nice and busy, so there's not a lot of empty places, and it doesn't take too long to transverse across the map, especially if you've dominated a beast, which you can use in combat or just running across the map. And again, this is great fun to do, and again gives you more options how to approach a fight. The grading of Shadow of Mordor, so it's going to be a silver. The story isn't really gripping me at the moment, and that might be because I'm not interested in Lord of the Rings as much as many people are. But the things like the free running does wind me up. That it's not very smooth, and I'm having a few problems with it. And the fact that it's pretty much everything in the game, apart from the Nemesis system, is a rip-off from other games. So there's no real originality that they've put out here for this. With the exception of what I've just said, though, everything else is fantastic. The things they have stolen, for the most part, work very, very well. And it's not really a fault of the game. It plays brilliantly, and I'm enjoying sort of every second I've had with it. But it doesn't offer enough in terms of doing anything new. So overall, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor, silver. Thanks for your time, and ta-da.
If what you say is true, then how do we break this curse?
We find the one who cast it on us. The Black Hand of Sauron.